Welcome into the draft profile for Darius Alexander, defensive tackle out of Toledo. Guys, let's get right into it. This is a 305, 6'4" defensive tackle who is built like a Greek god. He's the exact type of frame. He has the right body to play defensive tackle at a high level at the NFL. I'm going to put the skill chart on here for you right now. And yeah, I think there's a lot of really good to talk about with this dude. Obviously, first couple things I want to talk about. Frame at a 7 is absolutely awesome. And then to have that size and have your burst be at a 6.7 for me, it's real. He has a really explosive athletic profile as far as, interior defensive lineman is concerned. We'll talk a little bit more about his positional versatility and where I'd love him to line up and all that. We'll look at that a little bit later. But as far as just his overall explosive first step, that's really, really good. And the only reason it wasn't a little bit higher for me was because there were some times where I had some questions about the closing speed, the short area quickness when, you're in a kind of a phone booth with a running back and you're trying to bring him down behind the line. Things like that weren't always, I don't want to say it was bad. Like he is an athlete, and especially for that size, he's a pretty special, human being. Like there's not a lot of guys that look the way he looks and can move the way he moves. But with that said, maybe would have liked a little bit more of that, closing explosiveness and speed, and maybe that is something he can work on. Maybe that's a conditioning issue. I don't know. Great versus the run, obviously. He's definitely plus in that category overall. Play strength is great. Athleticism is really good. Hand usage is something that, you're gonna have a conversation about. I did think he could synchronize his hands with his feet a little bit. I definitely thought in that kind of same vein, he could have a little bit more of a plan when he's pass rushing in general. Now, that's very, very common for defensive tackles. It's really just bull rush, and he's just going to win with his traits, especially at the MAC. He won so much at that level just because of his physical tools. A 14% pass rush win rate, which is just insane for a defensive tackle, right? But that's just goes to show you he's going to win. It's not going to be like that in the NFL. That's probably one of my bigger question marks. That might be a part of his game that maybe I'm just a little bit lower on than the rest of the draft community. I'm not exactly sure, but I do think, I wonder how much that's going to translate immediately. He has the athleticism. He has the strength. Like, he's going to work on it. I do think that's just part of his game that's going to have to grow a little bit. But overall, I think another part of his game that's not going to be talked about enough, his flexibility, his ability to kind of twist and contort his body between, a double team to get upfield. Things like that were really, really good. Now, I will say, and this is part of the conversation that I wanted to save for the end because, look, he has some good versatility for his size. Like, he can do a lot of different things. His athleticism is going to lead to that in general. I didn't really consider until I kind of sat down literally in this chair, was making sure, just doing the research of, okay, who was the guy before he went to college? The little things that I like to do right before I record so I don't sound like a total idiot, that if I'm just having some total gap in my knowledge about the player, because a lot of what I'm talking about just comes from watching him play, and that's kind of all I have. So in doing that, I went back, looked at his Senior Bowl stuff. I didn't look at that when I was originally grading him, and I realized, they played him at end a lot more than I would have expected. And from the clips that I saw from the Senior Bowl, you realize, he could be a big defensive end. He could set the edge. He could get after the passer. He can do all of those things from that defensive end position. And, I imagine him doing stunts. Like, I could see a lot of trickeration that you could see on the defensive line, because he has all of the skill sets to be, he can be shifty enough to do that. So yeah, that's another aspect of his game. Not exactly how I graded him. Maybe I feel like people are giving him a little bit too much credit for the short area quickness that I maybe don't see or didn't see. But again, I could be missing something there. I think there's definitely variety. If we're all seeing the exact same thing, especially for a guy like Darius Alexander, who's a late first type of guy, second round type of guy, like that's about where he's going to go. If we're all saying the exact same thing about him, then some of us are cheating probably, and maybe falling into a little bit too much groupthink. So I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to be as honest with myself about my review of him, and also give you the full context of maybe what everybody else is seeing. And there's a real possibility a team could draft him for that versatility that he displayed at the Senior Bowl, right? But all right, guys, that is all I have on Darius Alexander. I think this is a guy that falls into a clump of players for me. I have really no idea if he's gonna, the right team could draft him in the first round. Absolutely. He could fall anywhere inside the top 50, I feel like, and it would make a lot of sense to me. I don't have a great feel because there's going to probably be like 20 defensive linemen that are drafted in the top like 60 picks, I would think. Like, I really think there's going to be a huge run on these names. I think that's really the strength of the draft in that range. Darius Alexander's right there, right in the middle there. I think the right team's going to find the right fit for him, and he has a potential to do a lot of good things, be a 3-down player in the NFL. There's just a ton of upside there for him, so it would not shock me at all if he fell inside like the top 25. I think top 20 feels really, really bold. A team would just have to be in love with them in a way that I really don't see, but it wouldn't shock me. I think top 30 is very, very possible. Like I said, first round, very possible. But, he could be one of the guys that falls as well. And if he does, a team's probably just getting a great value on a guy who just got lost in the sea of a lot of really good defensive line prospects. All right, guys, that's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.